Need a new desk.
The modern era of entertainment, much like modern art, is total trash. If the old saying is true that life imitates art, then we are headed for a dystopian nightmare that would make Orwell piss himself while also simultaneously diagnosing himself with multiple personality disorder and possibly being a diaper-wearing furry.
Nice.
Modern Hollywood's best ideas are all based on other people's work. We've been bombarded with lazy IP grabs and reboots and reimaginings that lean heavily on nostalgia while also hating everything that came before it. Hollywood acts like a jaded wife, hell-bent on destroying her husband that put her in the lap of luxury.
Does anybody remember Phil Hartman?
While making YouTube videos as a career now, I have found myself watching shows that I would normally never pay any attention to. So, without further ado, here are my top 5 shows that took my will to live. Number 5. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Some brainlet in Disney that couldn't take a creative thought that they could come up with an Obi-Wan story that takes place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope by completely ignoring canon, the tried and true method for success. Speaking of war, this video is sponsored by War Thunder. It's a free multiplayer game about confrontations between ranged military ground vehicles, aircraft, and naval vessels. It's available on PC, Mac, and gaming consoles. The new Sky Guardians update is recently released for War Thunder, adding the Yak-141 vertical takeoff fighter, Panzer S-1 Spag with the Kamaz-like cabin, the legendary Little Bird helicopter, and for the first time in War Thunder, warships of the French fleet. The new picturesque location of aircraft fighters, Pyrenees, was introduced to the game, and several maps for ground battles have received winter variants. Visual effects were significantly refined in this update, making aircraft fights even more realistic. And when I say realistic, the explosions and the damage across the board on tanks and naval vessels, aircraft as well, can be completely riddled with bullets and torn to shreds. In War Thunder, there are many both renowned and prototype vehicles from the beginning of the 20th century to modern day. Every single vehicle in War Thunder can be improved. You may unlock additional devices, armor, and special equipment. You can also improve the crew of the vehicle to increase its stats. Customization is a big thing in the game. Now you can put me on your tank. There are various camouflages, unique skins, and vehicles. You can make your tank suit your personality with decals and other decorative elements. Download War Thunder for free from the link in the description. All new players who haven't entered War Thunder in the last 6 months or more will receive 500,000 silver line, a week of renting legendary German ground vehicles, 3 premium vehicles as a gift forever, XP boosters, a week of premium account, and other bonuses. All these can be yours just by clicking the link in the description. This season of German gifts will soon come to an end. When you think about it, this was the Rings of Power for Star Wars fans. Obi-Wan, who originally went to Tatooine to keep an eye on Luke and to prepare him to be a Jedi, for some reason ends up going on a zany adventure with the precocious Princess Leia, who's so strong and independent, even at 5. Fresh out of Pampers and right into feminism. Star Wars went full Rugrats with this one. There was also a strong black female villain, who wasn't a villain at all actually. She was only doing horrible things to people to kill Darth Vader. Damn that white man. I forgot the character's name and the woman who played her. That shows you how impactful, meaningful, and important that character was for representation. This show is a mess from start to finish. A sickening reminder that Kathleen Kennedy's Disney is so bad it destroys all it touches. Even Funko Pops wasn't safe. That nosedive recently. You know that those 30 million Funko Pops going to the landfills? Most of them have to be Star Wars figures of Rey, Skywalker, and Rose Tico. Obi-Wan himself is a tired trope of modern movies, of a once great male leader and a warrior to an old, jaded, wizened man who needs the young kids to inspire him with TikTok dance. Notice how Kenobi was panned by fans. In Top Gun Maverick, people want to see their heroes still be heroes, not angry old men that look like they just stepped out of divorce court and got taken to the cleaners.
The thing that we really aspire to constantly is quality.
No, you should be the elder statesman, the one to inspire you and guide you to a greater sense of self or being, with his wisdom and life experience. Now, what the hell am I saying? Only women could do that. There will be a season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm not looking forward to it. You know what's really sad? One guy on YouTube did an animated space battle of Star Wars, and it was the most hyped thing to ever come out of the franchise in the last 10 years. May the Force be with you, Ota King 777. Number 4, Resident Evil. Netflix does it again by taking an established Japanese IP with years of history and completely ignoring it, and making a CW-style teen drama with zombies on the side. When I heard the star of the show was Ella Balinska, I knew the project was going to be a hot mess. Either she has horrible luck, her agent has Down syndrome, or she picks these horrible roles herself of strong, independent, one-dimensional Mary Sue characters that nobody can relate to. My favorite. Everything this woman touches fails so hard it's jaw-dropping. Okay, for instance, Charlie's Angels. She was in the reboot, and we all know how that went. That movie bombed so bad the director blamed all the men in America for it failing. Because we all know accountability is like kryptonite to modern women. Most recently, she was in Forspoken. That game did so poorly, the studio shut down 4 months after the game released. Ironically, the dialogue in the game was as bad as Resident Evil.
Did I just do that?
Well, definitely with my assistance.
I did not just do that.
We did.
I just moved with my mind.
Perhaps our connection has somehow awoken some abilities.
I just moved with my mind.
I just keep hearing I.
I just moved with my freaking mind!
I'm sensing a pattern here. Well, anyway, she plays the character Jade, whom is incredible. This chick is strong, smart, fast, badass. She can get slammed into a car by a giant caterpillar and not die. Hell, her legs don't even break, dude. And that's not plot armor. That's just sheer girl power. She is so smart and strong till she needs to be stupid to move the plot forward because the writers are that brain dead. They also race swapped Albert Wesker. Netflix finally had a chance to cast a white man as the ultimate villain, and instead they made him a loving black father, played by Lance Reddick, who was actually the best part of this entire horrible show. Oh, by the way, he was also one of 3 clones of the real Albert Wesker, who died in Resident Evil 5. Like, this event happens before Resident Evil 5. And when Wesker dies in Resident Evil 5, he's white. Listen, it all makes sense if you don't think about it. Of course, the leader of the once faceless Umbrella Corporation is now led by a smart, strong, hot, independent lesbian woman. Because of course it would be.
Us girls, we're tougher and smarter than people give us credit for. Aren't we?
The T-virus that turns anything exposed to it into a mindless, flesh-eating zombie has no effect on the twin sister of Jade, who's Asian. Like I said before, it makes a lot of sense if you don't think about it. Instead of it killing Billy, it only made her better.
See, that's what you never got. The T, it stripped away all my bullshit. The fear, the anxiety. It didn't make me somebody else. It let me be who I always was. I was just too scared to admit it.
Right.
She overcame being a zombie with sheer female teen angst and Billie Eilish music. Let's be realistic here. This generation of people are one TikTok video away from a mental breakdown, and I'm supposed to believe these ridiculous movie plots. Resident Evil is another in the long line of properties Netflix buys the rights to just to destroy, and they wonder why subscribers are down. Here's an idea, Netflix. I don't know. Buy the rights to Sword of the Stranger and finish the animated trilogy. Leave Japanese IPs alone unless you plan on respecting the property. Nobody wants this. Number 3, She-Hulk. One of Marvel's most beloved B-list heroes, with a bit of fun and a splash of sex appeal. When Disney announced the show for Marvel Phase 4, I had low expectations. But much like this recession, when you think that things can't get any worse, they somehow always manage to do so.
I'm losing my mind, everything's fine!
She-Hulk is a painful slog. Each episode plays out like a fever dream of meta humor and intersectional feminism that doesn't really connect at all to previous episodes very well. The writing room was driven by female humor,
Sexist.
with poorly placed jokes in the show that left me longing for the sweet embrace of death.
Impersonating a judge is illegal. Get down from there.
This is very good for us.
You do not need him. Or her. Or them.
But you do need shoes, because this is a public bathroom.
To him.
Yes, Jen, it's me. Of course I can get to him.
I sent a thirst trap. It was a picture of me with a bunch of books.
This is the one where they kill Adriana. It was so sad.
You just ruined it.
I cried for 3 days.
Donnie Place is going to pay for this.
I haven't been this tired of living since I saw Ghostbusters 2016. Titania was played by a social media addicted anorexic feminist that spends most of her time picking fights with randoms on Twitter, then reposting her dunks on Instagram to listen to her echo chamber call her a queen. No, I'm not looking for the tweets. It's pretty cringe. And She-Hulk was played by Tatiana Maslany. You might remember her from nothing, actually. I mean, she's done things, but let's face it. If you aren't a woman chugging boxed wine and crying over your favorite body wash being discontinued, you'd have no idea what the hell she was in otherwise. I mean, her star power just isn't really there. Her new TV show was abandoned by the network. I'm sure they were huffing the Twitter hype, then slowly realized that it doesn't translate into real-life views, and pulled the ripcord. Much like Disney's finding out with the Marvels 2. I can't wait for that to hit theaters and then smash through the core of the earth. But this isn't about her. This is about another in the long line of bad Marvel movies and TV shows that cannot seem to capture the magic of the first stages of the MCU, because it's run by creatively bankrupt people that hate the fan base they're meant to cater to. This is a slice of life show. It's meant to have the same fun energy that Japanese anime seems to capture with this genre of entertainment, but it falls flat on its face when it's made for modern audiences that spend their days being upset about Brendan Fraser getting an Oscar for not actually being 400 pounds while playing a character in a movie. Number 2, Cowboy Bebop. Arguably one of the greatest animes to ever exist. Fresh, cutting edge, stylish, hip. Cowboy Bebop wasn't just an anime, it was an experience. It was a state of mind. It was a moment in time for many of us coming of age into adulthood. Cowboy Bebop, if you were one of the kids watching Toonami, it just changed you as a person. The anime was so good, even the soundtrack was loaded with absolute bangers. I kept those songs on my playlist for years after the show ended. When Netflix said they were turning Cowboy Bebop into a live-action television show, I felt like someone dug up my grandmother's bones and paraded them down on 85th Street. To say Netflix live-action Cowboy Bebop was insulting to fans is an understatement. If you want more details about that, check my older video. But my god, the people they hired to write this stuff, the costume design, the dialogue, it was all painful. The rewriting of characters and storylines, absolutely unnecessary and hack work. Fine, if you want to make Jet Black actually black despite that being hack levels of ideas, sure, okay, whatever, it's Netflix, I should expect it. But to change his backstory to making him a divorced single dad, that just made no sense. In doing this, they killed off a great storyline that involved Jet Black in the anime that explains why he was alone being a bounty hunter on the Swordfish in the first place. There was so much work there, there's so much character development. Spike Spiegel, who is like 25 in the anime, was being played by a 50-year-old Asian man, while everyone in the show pretends that he's young and sexy. Jesus Christ, they could have used a TikTok filter and de-aged him, all for the price of a Samsung Galaxy S23. We aren't even getting into Faye Valentine. What is it with Hollywood hiring obnoxious female actors as of late? Do they confuse entitlement and being annoying as feminism? Well, I guess when you think about it, they're not wrong. I didn't watch all of Cowboy Bebop because its very existence was offensive to me. When the church fight scene between Vicious and Spike was brought to an end by Julia, who then threw Spike out of the window, oh my god, I spilled my sanity on the floor. If you took part in this bastardization of Cowboy Bebop, as King Leonidas once said to Ephialtes, may you live forever. Even Shinichiro Watanabe, the creator of Cowboy Bebop, found the show hard to watch. That should bring you great shame. Number 1, Velma. Scooby-Doo was originally created in 1969 by writers Joe Ruby and Ken Spears, made for the Hanna-Barbera company. Both men died in 2020, within 4 months of each other, which was tragic and a blessing in disguise, because this adaptation would have killed them.
Over. This feels
Amazing! Like, best day ever! I solved the case! Happy dance!
It's true. I'd solve the case for good. But like all prestige detectives...
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here! HBO Plus's Velma is an assault on the senses. The only person that could find this witty or funny is a true NPC. They rewrote characters' histories. Now, Daphne is an Asian high school mean girl that sells drugs on the side, adopted by 2 inept lesbian cops. She was always the rich member of the group originally. Fred went from being a farm boy that was logical and rational to being a rich white man with Down syndrome or some other sort of mental disability.
Cuddies.
He's been so pampered, his body hasn't even felt the need to fully mature. I mean, Fred literally can't feed himself.
That's not true. No, you just cut the food and put it on the... What's the dumb thing called? A dingle hopper.
Great. Show us.
Shaggy is now black and on the honor roll. Velma is basically every character Mindy Kaling has ever played. By the way, she's also the smartest person in the room, and everyone wants to be with her sexually for some odd reason.
Oh, hey, Fred, have you seen Norville? I need him to help me investigate.
No, but I have found a way to make you like me. Check it out. And as if this isn't enough, I will also win your heart by proving I am a helpful ally, sister.
Look, I'm glad reading the feminine mystique caused a little growth.
Shush, a feminist is speaking, and
I need you to know that I love you.
I love you too, Norville.
What? Norville?
Daphne! I love you, Daphne!
Velma! I got your VM! Voicemail! And I love you too!
Can you believe I blew it twice?
Even though she is completely and utterly repugnant as a human being in the show. No Scooby-Doo, by the way, whom Shaggy grew up with. Like, fundamental aspects of these characters have been changed on a whim. Listen, it's not like I'm a fan of Scooby-Doo or anything. I mean, I watched it on Cartoon Network when they actually played cartoons 24/7. And even I found this show to be in horrible taste. Velma is so painful to watch. Every time I finished an episode, I felt tired and lethargic, like a new mother in full postpartum depression. What do all of these shows have in common? Well, they are all poorly written and have no payoff. Just a whole lot of visual vomit on the screen, promoted under the guise of representation. If this is what we get with a group of people brought in for diversity's sake, then give me one creative white man any day of the week. Good Lord. I mean, let's look at the facts. Star Wars. One guy becomes a cultural phenomenon worldwide. Modern Star Wars, focused on diversity. It's a total show. Everyone hates Star Wars, and Disney now admits that the brand has been damaged, quotation marks. And they still won't fire Kathleen Kennedy. If you screw up too many times at Burger King, your ass is grass, and Kennedy's still here. Let's just go one step further. Full Metal Alchemist, one woman wrote that. Hell, any modern hit manga today was made by one person. Berserk, Vagabond, Vinland Saga, DBZ, Naruto for you shonen fan weebs. Do you know what they call a camel? A horse, designed by committee. And that's why all of these shows and movies suck now. Because it's a group of people more focused on representation than actually creating a story that's interesting, thought-provoking, or even remotely challenging for the viewer, because they think you're too stupid for anything that doesn't rub your tummy and tell you you're a good little Z-Zer pronoun.